Hello, hello, everyone. It is Kenyon here, and I am here joined by Reece of the Reece Report to talk about his favorite man from the draft, who we just actually drafted in a certain Grady Richards. So, with him being, yeah, that's right, people, get it out of your system. Um, the jokes are going to be there and plentiful. But just like this man shoots the three, by the way, the Raptors yesterday drafted a certain Grady Dick. And for that reason, we had some mixed reactions throughout Raptors land. But by and large, I think what you're hearing, even from analysts who are a little bit shocked that he dropped that far to us, that this is a good pick. So I'm here to talk to my basically the next person. Or actually, I should ask: were you at Real Sports today in line to buy the jersey?
I was not, because I did not think his jersey was out yet because he hasn't picked the number yet.
Okay, gotcha.
Um, so I'm gonna wait till he picks a number and then I will grab his jersey. But yes, you will see it on me often and early. Trust me, it will be
Okay.
there.
Okay. So before we get into talking about Grady Dick, we've already, if you want to see a breakdown, he was actually one of the first people that I covered with, specifically with Coach Roach. So definitely, people, I will link that in the description down below. Check that video out. I think a lot of those thoughts ring true today. But today we're going to do a brief overview of what he brings, but also, first and foremost, we're going to talk about the Raptors draft overall. So obviously you're happy with the pick, right? Because he was your number one. Although I almost got you to get to Case, and then you said I can't leave a man Dick behind. So fair enough. All right. So with that being said, uh, are you satisfied? Ironically, with the Raptors pick, and
Yeah, I'm gonna do.
how they did for the draft overall. Is there anything that you wish that they did more?
I'm gonna do that now. I think I represent Dick enough. Yes, I am very, very, very happy with this pick. I'm ecstatic. I wanted him picked from as early as January. You and I have been talking about this. I think he's everything that the Raptors need right now as a squad, considering who they have on their roster, how their bench is. He delivers all the boxes, which we'll get into. And I think the most underrated thing is his personality, which I just showed you a little bit of. He likes his drip and has already made an impact on Scotty Barnes regarding his drip. So
Yes, sir.
he brings he brings a personality that I think that locker room really needs.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's after this year, we can definitely use a vibes guy. I don't think he's just a vibes guy, people. For me, I think he checks some boxes, not all. I still would like there's two things that I've specifically been asking for, which is point of attack defense. So we'll just jump right into his defense, which it is I think it's above average at every single stage that he's played at, but he's not going to be a point of attack defender like a Case and Wallace would have been, which is okay. That's perfectly fine. Um, and probably offensive initiation off the bench. He's not going to be running point off the bench, people. Um,
No.
that's just he's not a point guard. But what he does bring is he brings a I think without shoes he's 6'6.5" with a 6'8" wingspan, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a plus size wingspan. I think he has an 8.5 inch standing reach. So there's a lot of length in this man, of course, which is great. And I think as a positional and help defender, I think that he is someone who could definitely help. One of the things that I noticed, and I'm going to ask you about it, was before we even get to the 3-point shooting. This man seems to move a lot on the court on offense.
Yes, he moves without the ball very, very well. He's very, very good at back picking, which is something the Raptors really need and should have used a lot more last year. Very good at using picks, good in the pick and roll. Also able to dribble and get into position for threes, move around and get into position. He's not a standstill guy at all. And regarding his defense, he's an opportunistic defender who will steal the ball and get out on the break. Excellent on the fast break. And so I think that will also help the Raptors, who are already a very good fast break team and like to get out on the break. So I think that he'll be hidden on defense, but he won't be embarrassed on defense.
Yeah, I think. In fact, I think. Let me put it this way: we don't have nurse people, so I don't think we're gonna have a hyper complex defensive scheme, which that alone will help a lot. I don't think he has to be hit on defense, so that's one thing. So, people, I will say, he is not Duncan Robinson. I think that there's definitely a
No,
pathway there. He just has to be average defensively, and I think that there's a pathway to get there. And I think there might be a pathway to get him a little bit higher. People who are complaining about the defense, we have a lot of defensive players, and if they're going to run it back in any way, shape, or form, even if it's a retool, which I think it will be, well, guess what? We could probably use a skill set that we actually don't have for once. I'm just gonna say. I mean, yeah. So, one thing that I'm going to ask you is there anyone, well, this might be a tough question. So if you don't know, it's fine. But is there anyone in college that you know besides him that shot 40% on over 5 threes a game?
there is one other person.
Who,
I'm gonna get it wrong. He's second, and I know he's second, and I can't remember who was first.
I'm not even, I just pulled, I have a couple, I'm not going to go through the whole list here, but I'll give
Yeah.
you a couple names. One is going to
Yeah.
annoy you. I already warned you that this is
Oh
going to
Lord.
cut deep, but I didn't tell you who it was. You get
Uh,
one guess.
Taylor Hendricks.
No, I do not
No.
believe so.
Okay.
But Desmond Bain is one.
Okay. Well, yes, that does annoy me. Yes.
Yeah, you're like,
You did not have to tell me that.
yes.
Yes.
Yes. Another one was actually Tyrese Halliburton as well.
Oh, you know what? Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't think of past players, but yes.
Yeah, you know
Yes.
who else? Because since I'm going
Mhm.
through the Pacers roster, we might as well talk
Mhm.
about Aaron D. Smith too.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, um,
But he was, to me, he was second in threes this year, but to me he was the best shooter in college.
yeah. So
So
depending on who you talk to, it was definitely either Grady Dick. I know Jordan Hawkins by some kind of rose up to that, but by a lot of metrics, Grady Dick was arguably the best shooter in my opinion. He had the cleanest, most consistent release, and as a movement shooter, who surprisingly for his size did have moments. I'm not saying he's breaking down people, but I noticed that he had a tendency to really attack closeouts pretty consistently. With that, I think he did that better than Jordan Hawkins, in my opinion. Some people might disagree, but I do think that the pathway for him to be a potential 3 level scorer, not in the same way that like people were projecting Keontae George, but yeah, I think the pathway's there. You want to share some thoughts on that?
yeah, I when you shoot 54% from three off the dribble, that is a very, very good sign that you're going to be an excellent scorer in the NBA, because what that means is he doesn't have to stand still and wait for the basketball. He can fake you out. He can also get to the right spot and not just fling it up. He has a quick release, so he can do that as well. But because his athleticism has been really sorely not talked about enough, he can get by guys off the fake and finish inside. So yes, he's a skinny guy. I understand he's skinny and he's 19 years old, but he's not afraid. This kid, if you saw him at the draft, this kid is not afraid. He has a lot of confidence, and he's going to give you his all. And he's not going to be one dimensional. I think he can score in a bunch of different ways. And so uh, the closeouts on him are going to create a lot of open space for the rest of the Raptors and for himself. And that is something that I think is not being talked about enough with this draft pick.
Also, I mean, I don't have synergy up in front of me or anything like that, but I did see that he shot over 52% on transition threes.
Yeah, yeah. And inside, like the people are worried about, he's just a 3-point shooter. He shoots 48% from two. So it's not like he's a guy who can't score in the paint. 48% in the paint's excellent.
Well, so I don't think he shoots 48% in the paint. I think that's like anything from inside the arc. Because
Inside the
if
arc,
he
sorry.
did
Yes.
shoot
Yes.
48%, that would be really bad.
Correct. Thank you for
But
correcting me.
yeah,
Inside the arc, sorry. Yes.
yeah.
Inside the arc.
But that
Yes.
is good.
Yes.
Like in the mid
Yeah.
range, shooting 48% is good, especially when considering college, the mid range is a lot smaller in terms of spacing. So at an NBA line, not only is there more space for Gradey, but there's going to be more space for his teammates. So I think it's really, really exciting. Just as we're kind of going through here, the other thing is that I don't know, did you hear about his family in terms of who his
He,
parents were?
well, his mother was an incredible women's basketball player
Yes.
who set records. So that was definitely a positive. I didn't hear about his dad. I did hear that his mom was an incredible player in women's basketball.
3,200 points in high school, and
Yeah.
she went on at Iowa State to score over 1,000 points there, and she averaged over 40 a game in high school. Gradey himself, he ended up being, I think, a top 14 out of 100 ESPN 5-star recruit to Kansas City at the time back there. So I guess he, like, basically lived to his draft name.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
and so yeah, first things first, before I continue, I just want to say congratulations to Gradey Dick and his family. I think that's really important to do that, because for a lot of these draftees, it's a very emotional time, depending on, for good and for bad reasons, depending on where they end up and where they thought they were going to end up. So it's really a beautiful time for a lot of people. It can also be quite emotional for a lot of people, but it was really nice to see everyone in general have their moment, that were able to have their moment. I will also say that it is sad that because of tampering, for Daniel House, and another team as well, Philly and another team, I believe, I
The
can't,
Bulls.
it was the Bulls this year.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was it wasn't their second round, because it was two late second rounders. So, but
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, I think Philly and another team lost their picks, so there was only
Yeah.
58 draftees, but that's okay. So, with that being said, the Raptors also got undrafted guys. But before we get into that, you never really told me what you think about the Raptors draft overall. Were you happy? Did you feel like they did enough, or were there moves that you wish that they did?
I wish they could have got a second pick, but when they got Grady Dick, I was quite content with them not making another move. Um, because that's the guy that I wanted from January when I noticed the problems with the Raptors roster. That's the guy I wanted, who I believe could really help a lot of the things that they were struggling with. This was a 28th ranked third 3-point shooting team last year. You had to get someone who could hit threes consistently. He makes 41% on 6 attempts a game. So I was excited about that. He's also a very, very smart basketball player, and he's tall, and he can move. So there were a lot of things that I liked about him that said, okay, if we do nothing else and draft this kid, I'm happy. And so in that respect, I'm not as disappointed that they didn't make a trade as I would have been had they not drafted Grady Dick. And so we'll see. I still wonder if they'll trade an OG who has 1 year left in his deal and wants a bigger role. Gary's staying, obviously, and I still think Fred will be, leaving the Raptors.
Yeah, I mean, it's Gary might not stay, but I can see him staying just based on the comments of his dad. I think he wants to stay. We won't get into Siakam today, but sorry. My question for you is about your ideal closing lineup this year. Does it include Grady Dick, and what would your hypothetical closing lineup be? And I'll tell you mine after.
I'm going to assume Fred will not be here, and so
I
we
mean,
will have
even if he's
Scott.
here, it could still be the same lineup.
Yeah, I'm going with the fact that Fred's not here. Scotty, OG, um, Pascal. Oh boy, oh boy. I think it'll be Jacob. I think it'll be Jacob Hurdle. That could change based on the situation, but I think
Sorry,
Jacob for
I'm just
now.
gonna correct you. Jakob, Jakob.
Jakob. I know I say it wrong. Jakob Hurdle. And now I believe it will be Gary or Gradey based on who is hot at that particular time. I really do think that if Gradey Dick starts the year on fire, or if he's in a game where he's on fire, he's going to end the game. And if it's Gary, Gary will end the game. I really think that that's how it will be. Um, if the Raptors need some defense, it might be Otto Porter. So I think it's the situation the Raptors are in. If they need buckets, I think it's possibly you see Gary at the end of Gradey at the end of games.
Okay. So again, so just to go through it, um, ignoring any potential trades or whatever, you're
Mm.
saying Pascal, maybe Gradey or Gary. So that's the one that we okay.
Yeah,
You said
at the shooting
Barnes.
guard spot,
Okay.
Barnes,
You said Barnes,
OG.
OG, and Jakob. Okay.
Yeah,
Mine is gonna be way different. I'm gonna go small. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna say Siakam, Barnes, um, OG, and then Grady, and one of either, depending on how what things are going, Otto or GTJ.
wow. Yeah, I mean, again, absolutely, the Raptors can go small.
You will see
No,
that
no, they
lineup
can.
today. You will
No, no,
see
you're
that
you're gonna
lineup for
no,
sure.
you're gonna see that lineup. I completely agree. If the game dictates that they need to go small, you're gonna see that lineup. There's 100%. If they need to be bigger and they need to defend a little bit more, you'll probably see Jakob in the lineup at the end of the game. Now, the development of Koloko is important in that as well, and so we'll see
Yes,
how that goes,
I
right?
think that this
So,
coach, I agree with Beyond, and I've been saying it for. I've been a big proponent of Koloko. You can vouch for me with that.
yes,
In
yep.
fact, people, the first video that I made on this channel was about Koloko against the Bulls with his 6 blocks. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that the kid is going to. He's a young man actually, but I think that he's going to have a significant impact, and I think he's going to push not get into the starting lineup, but he's going to push for starter minutes, especially when his foul rate comes down. That's really it. Is he just needs to learn how to stay on the floor. Get into the, because some people respond better or worse to an NBA strength and conditioning program. So depending on how he responds with that, I think you could see a new and improved Koloko next year. Not that he was bad. He was coming on near the end of the season, actually. And he
Yeah.
even had moments earlier in the season. But we don't have to talk about that right now. So, as nurse is
Yes.
gone. What
Yes.
I will say is this. In terms of impact, rookies are, in terms of them learning how to play the game and all that, it's always going to be different. But so I use the word impact in a very specific way, but I guess my two final questions for you is what kind of impact should people expect in your opinion? And then the final thing is that for Grady, what is the over under for I'll say 3-point percentage this year that you expect?
Impact. He's going to first. He's going to be a fan favorite. That's for sure. He's going to be a fan favorite, 100%. You could tell that right away when he got drafted. Um, and I said his impact in the locker room would be huge, and I believe it will be because his enthusiasm and confidence will bleed through that locker room. Um, I think his 3-point shooting is going to have a major impact on the Raptors this year. Um, what will he shoot from three? He's good. And the way the Raptors offense is going to be and the kind of passers they have in this offense, if Fred is gone, I'm gonna say he's a 40% shooter next year. Um, I think he's that good. And the fit is so good that um, there's nothing stopping him from shooting 40%. I think he's going to be open. And I think when he's not open, he'll be able to get himself open. And so I'm going to say he shoots 40%. Um, as far as his high watermark, he won't win Rookie of the Year because there's an
40%.
Amazon named from three.
That's a high
Yeah,
bar.
I, I'm going there, and I will say, okay, low let me be more conservative. Let me say 38%. Let me go 38% from three. That's what I'm going to go. That's going to be my number. 38% from three. I think there'll be a little bit of a drop off because it's NBA basketball, NBA defenses.
Yeah, I
But
was gonna go
I
like 35, 36, but I'm not. I
yeah. No,
don't
I'm
change.
no no. I think I'm going to be more fair to the kid because I don't want to put too much pressure on. I'm going to say 38%. That's my number. I think that's the number that popped up in my head. So I'm going to say 38%. And because the fit is so good, that's why I think that will be the case. Had he been on
Yeah,
another team, might be different. But I think they're going to be looking for him, and they're going to want to pass him the ball because they're going to love playing with this kid. And so I think 38%. Um, if I go absolute like crazy expectations, like the best thing that could happen to him, he could be a 6-man candidate. If he goes absolutely like crazy, he could be a 6-man candidate. Outside of if he doesn't go crazy and he's just a 3-point shooter and he shows us his skills, he'll just be a really nice rotation player for the Raptors. And that's what I expect. I expect him to be a really nice rotation player who grows into the game. He's going to need to gain some weight. He's only 19 years old. But yeah, 38%. I'm going to go that from three. And I think that you know, he'll show us more than what Raptors fans think he can be. I think a lot of people just think he'll be a 3-point shooter. I think he's going to show more than just that this year. We're
yeah.
going to be surprised when he dunks the ball. We're gonna go to Woody Harrelson and say, "Oh wow, white man can jump," and he's going to be a fan favorite. They're going to love this kid.
I think from a situational awareness, this is what I'm using instead of basketball IQ because I think IQ sometimes has a bad connotation on young people these days. So when used in particular ways, so I think his situational awareness on both ends of the court is very high. You saw how happy Scotty was as well,
Yeah.
and I think he makes the game easier for Siakam because
Yep.
now you can actually have spacing, and with the right amount of passing between potentially Siakam, Barnes, and Jakob, people don't be surprised if they can actually make it work. Now it will need to have some improvements from not really Siakam, even though he's getting a lot of flack for that. Like it's gonna have to be Barnes that's actually going to have to improve. But even still, it takes a little bit of pressure off that as well. So I think it's actually pretty good. This is a very exciting pick, and so yeah. I give the Raptors like a B plus. I don't like giving grades and that sort of thing, but yeah. So um, you said that you wanted them to get someone else. Who do you wish that they got? In addition, I should say.
I wanted them to get another guard,
Okay.
but they did that anyway. They ended up getting the Kansas guard. I
Right.
can't say his name. You'll have to say his name for me because
I think it's
I can't.
Markquis Nowell.
Thank you, thank you. They did a 2-way contract with him, so he'll be in the Doughton position where he could make the roster. He might not make the roster.
Yeah.
He had that assist record in that game for Kansas. So that was nice. But as I said, because they drafted Dick, I you know it's hard for me to say because Jordan Hawkins went right after. So
So you wanted
because
another
he
shooting guard, not like a point guard.
I wanted a point guard.
Okay.
But they were gone. Like I'm trying to think there wasn't much left after Dick. I mean,
Well, there
Jordan
was
Hawkins
one.
went 14, and then you'll have to remind
Lakers.
me there was the Lakers. Hood went, but I wasn't a fan of Hood,
Yeah.
and so I didn't mind. I wasn't going
I'll
to
just
trade for
put it
Hood.
out there. Oh, and also Kobe
Yeah,
Buffkin went to Atlanta. Um,
right.
I'll put it out there. I think that there might be Beyond and I were talking during the draft or whatever, and it's like the Lakers got the guys that we may have actually had our eyes on as like additional things. So like Maxwell Lewis. So there might be something there. There's a framework for a deal there that includes Freddie, that makes a lot of sense for both
Yeah,
sides. So
yeah.
I don't see them
Yeah,
keeping Jalen Hood Schifino and waiting for him to be an impactful player.
no, the Lakers are going to trade their picks.
Yeah.
Portland did excellent as well, and they may end up trading up those packages. But boy, Scoot Henderson, I'll tell you
I,
what. I
I
said
think
this to
I
you on
think
your other
he's
show.
I think he's staying, by the way, in
Yeah,
Portland.
I would have traded Dame. And after looking at their draft, I would still trade Dame because their draft was really good. I thought them getting Chris Murray and Brian Rupert later on in the draft, they did very well in the draft. I thought Utah had the best draft. They drafted three really good players that went in spots we didn't expect. But after the
Yeah,
Raptors drafted Dick,
so,
yeah,
sorry, I'll
yeah,
just say
yeah,
really quickly about Utah. They got the players that I expected, but not, yeah, like you said, not in the way. Because I kept saying, like, I think that they could go for George, but I didn't think that he would slip all the way to there to them. So,
yeah,
and yeah, so,
yeah.
but
Yeah,
sorry,
they
continue.
have three really good draft prospects in
Well,
Utah. That team, yeah, they're
think
gonna be
about
good.
it. Think about it. They are going, forget Vision 669. They're going Vision 611
Yeah,
with shooting.
yeah. I mean, man, oh man, they're gonna be a tall team to deal with.
Yes.
Um, yeah, but I looked at the draft afterwards, and I'm like, after Jordan Hawkins, I didn't see anything there that was worth trading for. And so, in that respect, if they're gonna move an OG now, I want it for a rotation piece that can help us now. I'm not
Mhm.
looking for a future draft pick now. I'm looking for something that can help this team move forward. Because if OG doesn't want to stay.
So I'll go beyond
So
the OG thing, and I'll just say this: like, even at what, regardless of who it is, I think there are moves that they can do that. But I wouldn't mind if it is a rookie, like a Kobe Buffkin or like a Jalen Hood Shafino. So then it's taking, you're not, like, for example, they could get DeLon Wright potentially, right?
right,
But he's on an expiring, and then it's like, you know what I mean? That's like, I
and
would
he's
like to.
31. Yeah,
Is he 30? I thought he was younger.
he's 31. So no, I'm not a big fan of getting right because he's 31 years old and you have a young
I mean, I
team.
would I
So
would still take him because he doesn't have
yeah,
that many miles on his body overall. He got into basketball like later,
yeah,
but and he
yeah.
can shoot. But like, even if you got DeLon right, he's not like he's not like he may not be the long term answer that you're looking for. So it's like, for example, if
Right.
you could get a Jalen Hood Shafino, or you could get a Kobe Buffkin. I'm, by the way, Hood Shafino is not my favorite draft guy, but like, I'm just using him as an example. It's like, at least you have someone who's like probably an upgrade over other options that you would have had, or who would be available, and it still allows you to go in the free agent market and get something. But
Yeah,
having more rookie scale contracts is going to be very valuable moving
yeah,
forward. So,
yeah.
biggest surprise of the draft, and then we will get out of here. Actually,
I was shocked when the two trade downs happened. Uh
Case and Wallace,
Case and Wallace trade shocked me a
and
little bit,
I'm
but then
guessing
I
Washington.
understood that yeah, I understood what afterwards. When I first saw it, like live, I'm like, oh my God, they're trading Hawkins down. But then I understood that they were going for the center and they wanted Lively. So it made sense. But then Koulibaly, I was surprised India and they didn't keep Koulibaly. Like I thought he would have been nice on that roster. And
I
when they
don't think he
moved
would
down
have
to
played. That's the problem. Is like he's
yeah,
like they don't
yeah.
need him if they're gonna find minutes for Mathurin.
True. But I wasn't sure if Indiana was trying to trade for OG and maybe they would keep him and then move him in an OG deal. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I that
There's a second there where you're
right,
like, oh, that's Masai's, like, is a Masai's
right.
guy.
So
Yeah,
but my head was spinning at that point. Then I'm like, oh shoot, they're moving him to Washington. That makes sense for Washington and who Washington sent. That made
yeah.
sense. So I'm like, okay, after the initial shock, those moves made sense. But no, I didn't think there were too many surprises at all in the draft. It went as expected.
Yeah, there
Um,
wasn't a lot of
yeah,
big player trades made, but I think yeah. Also, I'll just say a really quick thing about Dallas. I think that Dallas did well this draft. Got
they
out
did.
Berton's contract, and they were able to get a couple of decent picks. I kind of wanted them to keep Case and Walls, but I mean they got, I believe, Lively, and that's, we
And the
kind of knew that
Canadian kid,
that's oh, right, Max. Olivier.
I can't say.
Uh,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's been the episode. It's been a shorter one because got a lot of stuff going on. But it's been great to have you on. We'll have you on for more, and I'm sure we will continue this conversation. People, give me your thoughts on Grady Dick below, and we will see more of this type of content. Um, just so people are aware, my content schedule is going to kind of shift. I'm probably not going to be dropping 4 videos in a week anytime soon. but it's probably going to go shift slowly to more once a week into maybe once every 2 weeks. So yeah, just for a while, people. So yeah, there are some big things on the horizon. I'm not ready to announce them yet, but yes, um, I will link this man's channel in the description down below, and definitely check his content out. I think his content is about to go through a change soon, so it will probably be a little bit more Raptor centric coming up. And so, with that being said, and probably more Grady Dick centric for sure. So, with that being said, it's been great, it's been fun, and everyone take care and peace.